Hi, I'm Piero. One of the traditions in American ideology seems to be a fear of world government. So I want to talk about world government. Um, I think, first of all, the only thing that we can really be sure about for world government is that if there was a world government, then war would be illegal. Any conflict between the member states of a world federation would, of course, be regulated. You would not just have free range of conflict with other states. So you wouldn't have war. I mean, all states regulate violence, and as we know from the market anarchists, the governments always want a monopoly on violence. And so this is what this would mean. Now, I'm sure it would mean a lot of other things. There would be other laws, but we just don't really know what those would be until we would negotiate and arrange them. I mean, a world federation might make abortion illegal, or maybe it would say nothing about the right to choose. We don't really know. Now, if anybody wants to add in comments or as a reply other things a world government would mean, I'd be very interested because, as far as I know, uh, there really isn't a reason to be all freaked out about a world government. Now, I understand why some people are freaked out about it because of the idea of being governed. They don't want the authority to finally crystallize all the way to the top. But my position is our current states, because of the rules about immigration and immigration, already have, completed the crystallization of of us as citizens being governed. There is no market for governments in that it's way too difficult to change nations that you live in for it to really be considered a proper market for people to choose what kind of government they want to live under. Now, I'm not afraid of it because I don't think there's government now. I believe that what we have is something I call an infrastructural state. The infrastructural state exists to serve us. And so think, in a modern democracy, there's no government. Uh, the government is made up of bureaucrats and elected officials, and those are kinds of civil servant. So are they governors or are they servants? Well, they're really neither one of these things, and yet we use both words to talk about them. And what's really going on? Well, I mean, they govern in the sense that a regulatory function governs. The heart governs the flow of blood or something. It's a different sense of govern that includes service. And this is basically all the government is. It's an infrastructural organization. It exists so that we can have a common infrastructure, including an infrastructure of justice, so that we can all define murder is illegal, regardless of your means to defend yourself. We as a society will say that murder is wrong. And that is an infrastructural service, a security service. The roads, the schools, these are all infrastructural services. Now we can debate whether we need these as part of our infrastructure, and we can debate how to organize that infrastructure. But the government, so called, is really just an infrastructural state focused on questions like that, or that's what it should be focused on. Of course, a lot of people are very confused and they still think governments are about governing. The language is very powerful that way. But the fact is, we have an infrastructural state. I don't understand the big fear about a world government. If anything, the United States would be exceptionally powerful in a world government. I suspect it would be to our advantage. That other nations would probably have more to fear. I also don't think it would be a loss of sovereignty, except for the sovereign right to declare war, which you wouldn't lose entirely, just like a citizen doesn't really lose entirely their right to revolt against their democratic government. They just lose a lot of reason to do so. And we would still maintain rights as a state, whatever rights the World Federation saw fit, and that would include us in the debate. If there was a constitutional convention for a world government, we'd have a say in what sovereignty remained at the state level, meaning the nation state level. And frankly, I don't know what the big worry is about. We're already under a state of laws. The world already more or less agrees with us on what should be legal and illegal. And frankly, I'd like to see a day when war was illegal. I don't have a problem with that. So I'm curious what your responses are, and including those of you that are just freaking out. So if you leave a response to this one, I would appreciate it. Otherwise, I leave it as a statement for posterity on the net.